afternoon, Bay Nation. Welcome to another episode of Fantasy Bay. I'm your host, Mike Williams, and here's my co-host, Jeffrey.
Good afternoon, Bay Nation.
In this episode, we're going to be going over my Pigskin Pick'em picks. ESPN has a game called Pick'em where you basically pick the game against the spread. I'm going to pick all the games, and I'll be doing that every week for the rest of the season. Week 1 is definitely the most difficult game because there's a lot of changes in the offseason, new players on new teams, new coaches, both on the offense and on the defense. So week 1 is definitely the most difficult, but I'm here to help. Up first, the Eagles versus the Falcons. The spread is 3.5, Falcons. I'm going to take the Eagles in this one. I think this is going to be a really close game, and if they lose, I think they lose by a field goal. Jalen Hurts, I have a feeling, is going to be better than people are expecting. I do think that Atlanta's going to have a solid game. It's going to be back and forth, but I got the Eagles in this one. Next, the Steelers versus the Bills. 6.5 point spread. I have the Steelers in this one. I think that people are underestimating how much better the Steelers are going to be this year. I definitely think they're going to be very competitive. 6.5 points is a lot. Up next, Vikings versus the Bengals. I have the Vikings in this one. Their defense has gotten better, and they have Dalvin Cook. Also, fantastic wide receivers. I don't think that they're going to have a problem with Cincinnati in this one. Up next, we have the San Francisco 49ers versus the Lions. The spread is 7.5. Give me the 49ers. I think the 49ers crushed the Lions. I'd be surprised if it wasn't a blowout by halftime. Up next, the Cardinals versus the Titans. The spread is -2.5, Titans. I definitely have the Titans in this one. I think that the Titans offense is going to be incredible, and I don't think the Cardinals are going to be able to stop them. I think they put up some points, but winning by a field goal, give me that. Up next, the Seahawks versus the Colts. The Colts are a 2.5 point favorite. Wow, kind of surprised. The Colts have been dealing with some injuries. I know their defense is good. I still don't trust Carson Wentz. I do trust Russell Wilson. Up next, the Chargers versus the Washington football team. The Chargers are 1.5 point favorites. Give me Washington. I think that the Washington defense is absolutely incredible. Ryan Fitzpatrick is underrated, and so is Terry McLaurin. They're going to show people why they were in the playoffs last year. Next is the New York Jets versus the Carolina Panthers. The spread is -4.5, Panthers. Give me those Panthers. I think that Christian McCaffrey is excited to be back, and he's going to try to run it down their throat. Plus, I like the receiving core for the Carolina Panthers in comparison to the Jets. Honestly, what it really comes down to is one team has Christian McCaffrey and the other one doesn't. I'm going with the Carolina Panthers. At 4.5, mind you. Up next, the Jacksonville Jaguars versus the Houston Texans. The Jaguars are 2.5 point favorites. I'm going to pick the Jaguars in this one. I think Trevor Lawrence gets his first win, but I'm very interested to see how well Tyrod Taylor plays in this one. As well as the number 1 overall pick, Trevor Lawrence. I don't think the Texans are very good, so I definitely think that James Robinson is going to run all over them. Up next, the Kansas City Chiefs versus the Cleveland Browns. The spread is -5.5, Chiefs. Give me the Chiefs. 5.5 points, not enough. I do think this is going to be a back and forth affair, but Patrick Mahomes is an absolute beast. 5.5 points is not enough for me to pick against him against the Browns. Especially with a hobbled Odell Beckham Jr. Up next, we have the Dolphins versus the Patriots. The spread is -2.5, Patriots. I'm going to take the Patriots in this one. I'm curious to see how both quarterbacks play in this game. I just think that even though the Patriots defense is missing Stephon Gilmore, their defense is going to be very good. And to be honest with you, I'm not really trusting either quarterback right now, so I'm going to go with trusting the coach. Bill Belichick is the greatest coach of all time, so he has the edge. And on top of that, the Patriots are playing at home. I definitely think home field advantage is going to help them in this one. Up next, the Green Bay Packers versus the New Orleans Saints. The spread is -2.5, Packers. Give me the Packers. Green Bay being only 2.5 point favorites against New Orleans, genuinely surprised. I definitely think they're going to run away with this game. I don't expect Jameis Winston to be able to outscore Aaron Rodgers. Give me that. Next, we have the Broncos versus the Giants. The Broncos are 1.5 point favorites, and I'm going with the Broncos. The Giants have too many injuries and too many question marks, and that Broncos defense with Von Miller back is going to be beastly. So I'm definitely going with the Broncos in this one. Next, we have the Chicago Bears versus the LA Rams. The Rams are 6.5 point favorites, and I'm going with those Rams. The Rams' defense is incredible. I believe their offense is even better with Matthew Stafford. And on top of that, I think it's going to be a really rough game for Andy Dalton. That defense is going to be coming for him. And he also does not have a history of playing well in primetime games. And last but not least, we have the Baltimore Ravens versus the Las Vegas Raiders. Yes, I know that the Baltimore Ravens are very dinged up, but I think Lamar Jackson just takes it more in his hands and takes over the game. The Baltimore Ravens have an incredible defense, and I don't really trust the offense of the Raiders. I'm taking the Baltimore Ravens by 4.5 in this one. And that's gonna do it for my Pigskin Pick'em for week 1. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell down below. And I'll be doing this every week, so I'll see you soon. Enjoy the first football Sunday of the NFL season. I'll see you soon. Peace.